Hey, how are you? It's been a long time. Did you ever think you'd see me again? I wasn't so sure. My gosh, if things changed in just the amount of time it's been since I've been on last. Let me check the others, the other sources and make sure everything's good and make sure the sound's down, and it is. So tonight we're streaming on YouTube, we're streaming on Rumble, we're streaming on Twitter. And we're just going to do a chill stream tonight. I tell you what, I've had it. I've had it up to here. I need the therapy of the stream to get me through the rest. God, it's been ridiculous. And when I tell you all the things that I know, you probably won't believe me. I do want to check one more thing just to make sure it's working. It is working, I believe. Let's just see here. Yep. Working just fine. So that's good. That's not so good. This isn't very helpful at all here. So let me get to this screen. Look, I'm currently streaming to no one. No, I'm streaming to someone. Man, it's just been ridiculous. And so the first thing I wanted to do, since it's been so long, I don't know that I'm out of practice because I did do 2 streams with Austin, my friend in Nashville. But I wanted to kind of set the table and kind of to where do we go from here type thing. And so we'll do that by saying the following. The last time I had a night stream, a realty stream, was June 23rd of 2023. That would have been my 46th birthday. Had been 5 days after that. It's now September 23rd of 2024. It's been a year and 3 months. I can remember the stream I did in June like it was yesterday. What happened? Why did you stop? Was there anything that made it that way? Well, there were a few things. One, it's hard to come out and stream when you're not streaming anyone. No one's watching your stream. Why are you wasting your time doing it? I mean, you could literally sleep all day and, you don't need to stream. That was number one. Number two, the real estate game has been ugly for me over the past probably year or two. Transaction volumes are just at historically low levels, like from the mid 90s. And while it's great to have buyers in this market, has not been great to have multiple buyers because you can't get them a property without overbidding for a property. And the sellers are just like, let's see how much we can get. They're greedy, and it's not bad. It's just, it is what it is. And so then couple that with the National Association of Realtors lawsuit, which on Twitter brought a lot of hate towards real estate agents that I think was unnecessary. But it was crystal clear for me. It helped me understand how much people hate real estate agents, how much people don't have any idea what real estate agents do. And I get it. I get it. But it's been a year, and I never ever wanted to stop streaming, really. I just couldn't find my voice. I couldn't find the strength to continue when everything was negative. Now, has anything changed? No, we've still got plenty of negative. But what's different now is I worked with my people, and I said, look, I can't be researching. Like for a normal stream, I was researching maybe 2 hours a day to do a 1 hour stream. And then on top of that, the real estate business as it is. And it just made it, almost impossible to have some sort of normal life. And then if you have to show properties and do the normal real estate stuff during the day, you just don't get where you need to go. And so I was frustrated by that. Now, throw in a couple of things that were odd. And what I mean by odd is the world keeps changing quickly. And the more and more I go along, the more I seem to sort of understand that like the the way I see the world and the way other people see the world are very, very different things. And so things that would make me think that I was thinking normally, um, this is not even close to normal for some people. So what do I mean by that? Well, I'll just tell you about a story of a fellow. I'm not gonna name names or anything, but I used to really enjoy watching a streamer, uh, and he would captivate his audience um, for hours at a time, and he was always out there finding fascinating stories to talk about from the edges of the internet. He was a grifter in a good sense, and he was just knocking it out of the park. His streams were making differences in the lives of people in America by exposing some of the things that were going on, for instance, in the courts and things of that nature. And he, very popular, was really going well, and that guy just got eaten up. And so the guy that kind of got me into streaming has all of a sudden eaten up. And by eaten up, I mean, drugs, lawsuits, just a mess. And so I was uncomfortable because I definitely didn't want that to happen to me. You know, I don't, I stream because it's kind of fun. I stream because I want to kind of connect with people. And then to have this, guy that you look up to just totally fall on really, really hard times to the point where I just had to like leave the whole scene. I just can't be associated with that dude or any of this stuff. It was weird. It was strange. But I feel like it had to be done. We only have so much space in our minds, right? And we can't be filling it up with just horrible stuff. The garbage that you put in is garbage that gets taken out. And if you would like an example, I would say one of the biggest examples is music. When you listen to a happy song, you tend to be happy. When you listen to a sad song, the same, sad. And then you get into all of this other stuff, what's being suggested by the music that you listen to. It's just garbage. And so, I want to be in a positive space. I've had, a year off, and maybe things are going better, right? At least that's the thought. But let me tell you just the way things have gone for me in the past like month. In fact, in the past couple days. So about a month ago, I was getting these headaches, and they were like nothing I've had before, except I would say that it was kind of like the flu that was going around for 2 or 3 years a while back. But it was only the headaches. And so for like 2 weeks before that, I was taking like whatever, allergy meds because maybe it's a sinus infection. I was taking aspirin because maybe it was, I don't know what, a headache, just a headache. Maybe it was a migraine, all this weird stuff. And prior to that, I'd started working out. I started to try and get myself, in good shape. But the headaches had continued, and I was like, this is no good. So one Sunday night, all of a sudden, I couldn't eat. It's like, ugh. Just thinking of food made me sick. So I went to the urgent care in the morning, and I said, I haven't been able to eat, and I've got this terrible headaches. They gave me an EKG, and the EKG came back with some weird stuff on it, and so they sent me straight to the emergency room. Now, 47 years old, real estate agent, deals are not coming in like they should be. Now I'm wasting my time going to the hospital. It's a reality check. I'm driving, and they're like, "You want an ambulance, or do you just want to drive?" I'm like, "Oh, I'll just drive." So I'm driving in the ER, and it happened to be an ER where one of my relatives had just passed maybe a year before that, so that was a great reminder. And I get there, and there's like 300 people in the ER. I hear about how the United States medical system is the best in the world, and I'm looking at this like I'm going to be here for like 6 hours. Um, they call my name. I go up. I give them. I give them my information. They said, "Well, it doesn't look like you're going to die." They take my vitals, and I'm like, "Well, that's good." Terrible headaches though, and then I go and they give me an IV because they're like, "Well, you haven't had any. You haven't had any food. You're probably just dehydrated." So they give me an IV, and I pass out. Which, if you know me, you know that needles and I don't get along. So I pass out. And about that time, my wife shows up at the hospital. I'm slumped over in a wheelchair sitting in the waiting room. And it's just not good. You're 47 years old and you're in the emergency room and you've got these terrible headaches. And it's like, things aren't going well. Like there's nothing going well at this moment. So after that, I go back in the back, and they give me more IVs, and they give me all kinds of migraine stuff, and I say, okay, well, thank you for that, and I go home. My wife is not pleased with me. Um, I'm not pleased with me because the last thing I needed to do was hang out at the emergency room that day. In fact, I remember it was quite stressful the weekend before that. Some stuff was going on, and it just didn't go well. And so I go home and I'm like, this is bad. And once you get into the kind of the medical system, they want their money, right? So the next day I call, they said, you have to call your physician. I said, okay. I called my primary care physician, and they said that the soonest that they could see me was in, I believe it was January of 2025. Again, the greatest medical system the world has ever known. And I can't see my primary care doctor until January. So, I go to the doctor. Oh, no, I didn't. For like 2 days, I sat and tried to figure out what to do. And then the doctor's office called me and they said, hey, we need to set an appointment for it. And I said, well, that's great. They said it's January. And they're like, oh, no, we'll fix that. So you can come in. And so I go into the doctor and he says, look, dude, I don't know what these headaches are about. He said, but they are migraines. They're migraine headaches that you're having. I said, okay, great. I said, what's that mean? He says, if it impacts your day, you're having a migraine headache. And I was like, well, okay. So we have these tests we got to do. We got to do a sleep test. We got to go to an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and we got to do an EKG stress test. So that's probably not going to be free. So I go to do the EKG stress test. That turns out fine, but it only tests if you have 60% blockage or more on your arteries. So who knows, right? Who knows? I go to the ear, nose, and throat doctor. He's like, hey, do you ever think you might have just have a sinus infection? I mean, they did a CAT scan, and on the CAT scan, it says your sinuses are inflated. I don't know the right word right now, but it's like, could it possibly be that you've just got problems with your, sinus infection? Why don't I just give you antibiotics? I was like, brilliant. I mean, this is why we pay doctors more than six figures to come up with solutions like this. Didn't do the sleep test yet. And who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with that? I'm sure I have sleep apnea. That's not a question. The only issue is am I going to wear a stupid mask or not? So I did that, and then so I'm dealing with these health challenges, let's say, and that, in addition to the real estate game being brutal lately for me, has been rough. But what I want to do now is I want to kind of show you like how things are going in my life. I'm going to do that first by showing you a picture of what happened in my backyard just 2 weeks ago. It's right here. I'm going to share this with you. I don't know if you can. I mean, it looks like you can see it, and if I go here, you can. And you can see the mouse. Do you see this? This is a big ass branch from my neighbor's tree. And this is my chair. my picnic table chair that has been destroyed by a tree branch that isn't mine. Right? And so this problem has been a fascinating one. In the past maybe 2 years, I've had my windshield broken by my neighbor's tree. I've had a picnic chair destroyed by my neighbor's tree. The neighbor's tree has taken out the back electric power lines in my neighborhood, causing us to not have any power. And the tree limbs have also fallen on my neighbor's house, causing him to have severe roof damage and interior damage because he has not fixed that break since like 3 months ago. So I put it on Twitter. I said, "Hey, what should I do?" I mean, these trees are falling. Like, these limbs are huge, and they're really, really bad. It's really messing me up. Didn't get an answer on Twitter, although I did get one real estate agent that was kind enough to say, "Hey, maybe you should move to Texas. I'm a real estate agent in Texas. I'd love to show you places." Now, I'm not going to Texas, and that was stupid, but at the same time, it was funny. Fast forward to this morning. Here's the, if you can see this, you can hear it. Oh, look at that. There's my picnic table. Look at that. Oh, my picnic table's been destroyed. My picnic umbrella's been destroyed. All my chairs have been destroyed. Oh, there's the old branch from before, and now I've got a bigger branch that's not taking out the fence. Look at that. Now, you see this, you think the neighbor would come over and say, "Hey, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that this happened to you. You know, I should really trim my trees. Right? I've caused property damage. I've caused more than $1,000 in property damage 3 times now to you. Maybe I should, let's just play it again. Maybe I should come over and say, 'Hey, man, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean to destroy your tree. I mean, I know my trees are destroying my own house. I mean, I'm really, really sorry.'" Maybe that would be the thing to say, right? Maybe that would be the thing to say, the right thing to do. But this is America, and it's 2024. We don't do the right thing. We never do the right thing. We always just kind of, "It's not my problem. You know, it's your problem. It's in your yard. So it's your fault. This is somehow my fault. Because I live in a neighborhood where there's trees that aren't in my yard." Very fascinating. So I don't have a solution for that. I just know that I now go in my backyard and it's trashed. So I've been dealing with things. I also had a fascinating thing happen to me. I mean, relatively, and it's something that I wanted to kind of go over with you. It's like, "Hey, John, some of your videos are negative." You know, it's like, "Hey, house prices are higher than they've ever been in St. Louis," but that's negative. And if you tell people negative things, they won't want to use you as a real estate agent. And like, I'm supposed to, be happy about high prices. I'm supposed to be happy, and this is one of the things that's gotten to me. It's gotten in my mind. And that's why I'm putting it on the stream. Okay. What do you like? Under what circumstance is there a time when people want property values to be lower if you own a home? If you're an investor, do you ever want your property value to go down? If you're a single family homeowner, do you ever want your property value to go down? It's almost like it's rigged. It's almost like it's rigged to only go up. And if you say that, okay, that makes you a doomer, right? You should always be happy that the prices are going up. And I'm a real estate agent. I help buyers. I'm not happy that prices are going up. I'm not happy that they can't afford to buy a house. I think it's ridiculous. And so I'm in a situation where, I'm trying to inform the public. I'm trying to inform my audience. And you say, "Well, John, your audience is like 10 people. Fair. But those 10 people should know, like, hey, house prices are ridiculous. And I think that's true. Is it negative? I don't know. It is what it is, right? And somebody should say something about it. I think house prices are ridiculous. And I think it's even more ridiculous. We had these people sit here and say, oh, well, when interest rates drop, when the Fed cuts, we're going to have a situation where people will come back into the marketplace and start buying. Buyers are going to come back. It's like they didn't even understand that this entire time prices have been going up by like 25% a year. Okay. It's a ridiculous number. So even when you did bring the mortgage rates down, you still had an affordability issue. It's a serious one. Not to get political, but things are happening in the country that are causing inflation. Things are happening in the country that are causing houses to be expensive. Maybe people should do something. Maybe people should think like, hey, this isn't right. This isn't right. But you know what? It is what it is. If I'm being too negative, if it's keeping me from doing my business, if that's what's keeping people away, which I don't think it is, then all I can do is offer an apology. I'm sorry. I'm trying to give you a no BS filter for the real estate industry that I'm in. And it's in an industry where there's always BS. I can show you people with their PhDs that are paid by big housing to say that the market is great. The market is great. You should always buy. I don't think that's right, but that's what's going on. If you do want to buy, if you have a reason to buy, that's fine, right? You need more space. You had a life-changing event. Buy. But don't sit there and buy because you think it's a great investment right now. My God. My God. What is wrong with people? Oh, the rates dropped 50 basis points. If you look at the 30-year fix, it hasn't even dropped that much. It certainly didn't drop 50 basis points. Anyway, that said, I'm going to do something like tonight. It's just like, how can we do like things on the fly, right? And so I'm going to have some fun with this. And I'm going to do it. I want to talk about small business Twitter next. I'm going to have to do some things a little bit like that. Okay. I want to share this for you because I want to kind of, I've switched gears. Probably the worst transition I've ever done. But I want you to see this. I want you to see this and we'll just go through it. I saw this today and it's kind of where I'm at, what I'm thinking. And I just wanted to share it with you because, if I'm thinking it, I'll do it like this. I kind of, you don't need to see me all the thing here. But how do I put this? I'm starting to think that things are rigged against me. Not like a conspiracy, not like just an overall like, hey, we're out to get John. We're out to get Deerwood Realty. No, I don't think that's true. But I think that there are pitfalls for every small business owner, and I think that I'm just stepping in them left and right. And when you think about it, when you're in my shoes, like you try to figure out how do you alleviate this? How do you alleviate these issues? Like how do you keep these issues from causing more issues down the road? And one of the biggest problems that I've had in my marketing for the business is I'll just say it, a flat out fear of technology in the sense that I don't have any control over the technology in any way. I don't have any control over the message. For instance, if someone cuts a clip from this live stream in a way that would be, negative, and it goes viral, I have no real control over that. If it looks like right now I'm 25 minutes in on YouTube and I have no people watching on YouTube based on the stats. Okay. Why is that? why is my stream not getting any viewers whatsoever? Yet other streams that are just awful, they're of no talent whatsoever, get thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. Right? What is that? It's awful strange. What if my website is a decent website? Now I'm just saying what if it is because I know it's not. I need to do some work to it. But what if my website was great? And yet I still never see anybody, interact with my business online. And then that's just on like a daily basis, right? That's just what I do daily. Now, what happens when I try to, I don't know, use the technology to say, okay, so like I'd like to be found in search. Okay, I would, ask people to do a review for my work. So like if I have a client, hey, would you review me? And so now I look at this particular tweet here, and when I wanted to go over with you, this is every business person's fear in the technological space. When I used to do mailers, at least I knew they were sent out. I didn't know if people received them, but at least I knew they got them, and at least I knew that they weren't going to be stopped by technology for some weird reason. So I'm going to read through this real quick. It says, small business Twitter, please be aware. This is how I lost my Google profile, costing me tens of thousands of dollars every single month it's down. And you just get these things. I didn't tell you about this one deal. I'll tell you about that. I'll swing back around and tell you about it. But you just get this thing, and it's like, okay, you did your restriction, as part of our restriction policy. There's nothing you can do about it. If you try to call a person, there's no person there. We're just cutting you off your entire business. And so here it goes. It says, I received a direct message from a young kid who offered to take down a negative 1-star review for free so I can refer other business owners. I agreed because I had a bogus 1-star review probably made by a competitor. He sent DMs to almost everyone I know on Twitter. Now look, this is another issue. So let's say I get a review and I do a good job. And let's say there's another real estate agent down the street who doesn't like me. Well, he can just go put a review on my Google business page and it will knock me down on my reviews. What if I'm just walking down the street, I hand somebody a business card, they see it, they go on Google and they write me a negative review. What if you have an opinion that is 180 degrees different than me, and to damage me, to hurt me, you go to my Google business page and you write me a negative review? Is there anything for me that I can do to avoid being dinged by the Google algorithm when you give me a bad review? No. I'm totally powerless. And I'm always told the technology is helpful. Technology is great. It's terrible. You have no control over this. It says I received it. Okay, so it says he sent DMs to almost everyone I know on Twitter. He didn't mention any risks, nor did I do any research, which I deeply regret. On August 29th, he took down a 1-star review. 1 week later on September 5th, my Google business was removed, not suspended, just removed. So keep in mind, this has been a lifeline for my cleaning business. We have over 135-star reviews and rank number 1 in my main service area. We have also been active on Google Business for almost 3 years with 0 Google suspensions. I have invested over $6,000 in the SEO for this profile to rank so high. Now it is gone for the time being. It says I immediately contacted my Google Business experts, who told me that they have never seen a Google business page get immediately removed like this, and that it has to be from the Google review removal. They also told me they are now dealing with another one of their clients' Google business profile review removed because they worked with another agency similar to this guy's. It says, I immediately contacted this guy and we spoke on the phone. At first, he denied that this couldn't possibly be his fault, but by the end of the call, opened up the possibility that it might be his fault. I didn't hear anything from him until the 21st of September after I sent him multiple messages. So 2 days ago, once I realized he ghosted me and I'm down $15K this month, I sent him a text letting him know that if this doesn't get reinstated, he will be paying for it. He finally responded and claimed he ghosted me because I warned people in my Discord not to work with him, which I did do on the 15th of September. He had 10 days to contact me to help fix this, and he didn't. Says I finally received a response from him on September 21st, and his message is complete lies and refuses to take any accountability. He mentioned he will not be helping me with my Google business page profile and that my Google business has been suspended 10 times, which is completely false. He also mentions that my Google business expert vouches for him. So I Immediately called him, which I will keep out of this, even though most people know who I'm talking about. He said, blank, no, I have it blocked. Anyway, I wanted to share my experience working with him so people understand the risks of working with anyone who removes reviews. If this helps one other small biz owner save their Google business profile, then it was worth it. If anyone wants to know who this is, DM me. So look, this man has spent thousands and thousands of dollars to cultivate a Google business profile that brings him business. And on a whim, Google pulls it, just pulls it. You know, you say, oh, well, he did the wrong things. Okay. What did he do wrong? He paid someone to get a 1-star review off of his Google My Business page. He says unknowingly. Is that not heavy-handed by Google? I mean, I you're not in control. And it's like, why would you invest in a situation? I've got a little feedback. Why would you invest in a situation where there's a good chance that you're going to lose your business? It really makes no sense to me. Really makes no sense to me. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I mean, if you were in my shoes and you were like, say you had like 10 grand, where would you invest it? Would you invest it in Google? Would you invest it in old school mailers? Would you just hold on to it because your business is like, it needs cash all the time, and the more cash you spend, the less you have on hand? And I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna do this in a different light. I want to tell you something else that happened to me that I haven't been talking about, and that is, believe it or not, I have one video on my channel that's a short. And it gets played 2,000 times a day. I'm not joking. And it's about me talking about another YouTube channel and telling people how great it is and how hard it must be to film that channel. How hard it is to do that when the fellow he's camping with his young kids. And so I don't know. I got a little bit of buffering on one of my streams here. I'm sorry if you're on Twitter. I don't understand that. Anyway, so this video goes 2,000 times a day. I had to turn off comments a long time ago because people said that I was criticizing the guy when it wasn't. Not criticizing at all. I was praising him for his work and the ability to produce these videos that are marvelous. I also mentioned the channel because I wanted people to go subscribe, follow, and enjoy the content because I do. Well, guess what happened? That guy contracted with an AI law firm, and they put a copyright strike. They claimed copyright on my video. Now, my video was me talking about this guy in a nice way, a compliment. It was less than 60 seconds. And this AI law firm went and scanned the entire internet and gave me a copy and got YouTube to take down the video and give me a copyright strike. Now, a copyright strike on Google's or YouTube's a fascinating thing. You're not allowed. You get 3 strikes and they get rid of your entire channel. I have over 1,000 videos. Over 1,000 videos. They can just get rid of it like that. I say the wrong thing one time, it's just over. And see how that kind of relates to the Google business profile thing that guy is dealing with? You're investing on platforms that don't invest in you. So anyway, now I'm fighting an AI firm. And so I have the choice. I can appeal if I lose the appeal. By the way, I have to go to school, copyright school now, because I violated copyright law, which I didn't. And so it says in 10 days, we'll let you know. You can't post anything or anything in this time. And I was like, is it worth it? Is this worth it? I mean, I understand copyright. I don't want to steal other people's works. Okay. But if I simply have a criticism, or if I simply have a critique, or if I simply have an endorsement of another channel, that is not a copyright strike. That is ridiculous. And of course, you can appeal. Okay, but if you're wrong, then they have to drop their appeal, or they're coming at you in court. I make no money from this channel. What point is there for me to keep going? It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. And so after like 20 days, they dropped the copyright strike. But what I'm telling you is that was found by AI. Like, there was nobody behind that. Like, you're fighting now with machines. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's going to get more invasive. You're going to get more fake people involved in your life. One of the things that I'm working on for a story on a video, or a smaller video, is in commercial real estate, they finally figured out that they can have cold callers that are AI, and they can just be literally just talking like normal humans. And they're like, this is going to get rid of all of the real estate agents, because cold calling in commercial real estate is not unusual. And it's just it will be a theme as we go forward. Like, how do you protect the human component of AI? Like, how is that going to work? Like, how do you get the sanctity of like humans when you're going and dealing with AI? I don't know if you've seen the video out of like Ukraine, but this one guy's getting droned to death, and he's pleading for his death before the drone explodes on top of him. And it's a level of gross that I just can't convey. But it's going on. It's happening. Like I said, it's not even a real person. The AI, it's just coming at you and just literally, filing complaints. Like, you go through YouTube, there's no real human. Like, if any of these businesses were required to actually, have a human for when you ran afoul of their rulings, that would be one thing. But you just get thrown into the void. Just get thrown into the void. So, well, we're about 38 minutes in. I feel like I've opened up my heart, and for that, I've got 0 viewers on YouTube. I've got 1 on Rumble. I've got 0 on Twitter. X. Remember, X is going to be the place where everybody goes now, because all the video is going to go, right? There's all these audiences are going to come to X. I think we all know how that's going to really go. But, maybe you're here for some real estate content. Maybe that's why you've come to the broadcast. And so, by golly, let's do some. I've got 2 articles tonight, and they're both from the National Association of Realtors. The National Association of Realtors and I are not friends right now. We were fighting. They settled on a case, and I didn't agree with the settlement in any way. And I'll leave it at that. But let's get to the first article. Here we go, and it is right here. Let me check and make sure I got it in order. Let's go here. Are you okay? Or is that too much? Can I go here? I like that. That's too much. But we'll do it this way anyway. I thought this was interesting. I thought we should talk about it. It says Realtors Confidence Index. Days on the market fall to 24. Sellers receive an average of 2.7 offers. 24% of homes are sold above the list price. The market outlook for the Realtors Confidence Index for buyers increased slightly, but is flat for sellers. 19% of respondents expect a year-over-year increase in buyer traffic in the next 3 months, or up from 16% 1 month ago and 11% 1 year ago. That just should tell you how long it's been miserable on the transaction side. 11% 1 year ago. Expect a year-over-year increase in buyer traffic. I do not. I do not. It says 18% of respondents expect year-over-year increase in seller traffic over the next 3 months, up from 17% 1 month and 10% 1 year ago. These are horrible numbers. Horrible. And what is this caused by? They say the rate lock-in effect. I don't think it's the rate lock-in effect. I think that house prices are very, very high, and they're not, and inflation is eating away at people's lunch. And until those two things get solved, if they ever get solved, that's when you'll get more excitement. It says with supply still limited relative to demand, 20% of homes sold above list price, but down from last month's 24% and 31% a year ago. Well, I mean, it may have, 20% selling above list price is still a lot of homes being priced pretty high for people to buy. It says 60% of respondents reported that properties sold in less than 1 month. 60% of respondents reported that properties sold in less than 1 month. This is down from a month ago, 62%, and from 72% in August 2023. Now, look, just as a practical matter, as a real estate agent, when I put a house under contract with a mortgage involved, I'm usually going to be able to get that closed within 30 days. It's not unusual. Homes listed received an average of 2.4 offers, down from 2.7 offers last month, and down from 3.2 1 year ago. And so when you're making an offer on a property, you have to understand that other people are probably making offers on a property too, depending on where you live. I had this moron tell me, a housing guru tell me that I wasn't seeing higher prices in my own community, and that when I sold a house for over asking, that didn't happen. Somebody that knows nothing about me, knows nothing about my location, isn't even in my state, is telling me based on a graph that didn't happen. Drove me nuts. Who is he to say what I'm dealing with in my own market? The problem is, if you have 2.4 offers, if you are making an offer on a property and you know there's already one offer on it, you have to come up with some number that makes some sort of sense. How did these properties continue to appraise? Well, people kept waiving the appraisals, the appraisal contingency, so it didn't really matter if they appraised or not. It's been a wild, wild ride. Due to the lack of housing inventory, the pace of the market, and the use of technology, 8% of buyers purchased a home based only on a virtual tour. Those people are not the right people for you. You need to go and actually, when you go buy a house, you need to go see it first. Showing or open house without physically seeing the home. I just can't believe anyone would buy a house without physically seeing the home first. This is ridiculous. It says this is essentially flat from 8% a month ago and 7% 1 year ago. And let me just tell you, I hope that this never gets more than 5%, because I think it's wrong. Contracts typically close in 30 days, the same as last month and 1 year ago, but some face delays or termination. 5% of contracts were terminated in the last 3 months, essentially flat. 14% of contracts had delayed settlements in the past 3 months, essentially flat. 6% of the contracts were delayed due to appraisal issues, down slightly from 7% and up slightly from 7% 1 year ago. This has not been an issue. First-time buyers represented 20% of the buyers, down from 29% in July of 2024. August of 2023, among all buyers, 19% purchased for non-primary residence use, up from 13% last month and 16% last year. These are investors buying properties. They're causing the demand. Okay. 7% were for vacation use, up from 4% 1 month and 5% a year ago. What do you think those vacation homes are going to be? They're going to be Airbnbs. 2% of sellers sold to an iBuyer, essentially unchanged from 1 month and 1 year ago. If you sell to an iBuyer, what you're saying is, I don't want the most amount of money I can get for my property. I just want to get out from underneath it and let someone else take the risk of selling it. 1% of sales were distressed, flat from 1 month ago, and 1% from 1 year ago. Well, on the distressed sales, what about refinancing? Is there anybody refinancing to the sevens from like a 5 or a 3 or a 2% mortgage? What's going on there? We don't have that activity. It says contract activity buyers show some sign of slightly easier market for buyers. 26% of buyers had all cash sales. Those are usually investors, down from 27% 1 month ago and 27% 1 year ago. 18% of buyers waived the inspection contingency, down slightly from 20% 1 month ago and down from 23% 1 year ago. Isn't that weird? That almost, to me, it seems like it's numerically insignificant. I mean, waiving the inspection contingency. I've waived the inspection contingency just to get a deal done. I don't like to, but the fact that you think that it was be less now versus the roaring flu days of 2 years ago, hard for me to believe. 20% of buyers waived the appraisal contingency, down from 22% 1 month ago, but 22% August of 2023. Well, at this point in time, I mean, whatever number you seem to put on the property, at least here in St. Louis, it's almost got to appraise for because 3 houses down the street have all appraised for a number higher. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, that's just the way it is. Weird. Huh. I don't know how that works. Anyway, so you can see the mouse. I got to go. I'm going to show you another article now when I get to it. Bad transition. Both Realtor. Oh, by the way, so what do I think about this? Go over real quick. So, should real estate agents be confident that transactions are going to increase now that the interest rates have gone down 50 basis points? No. It's a usage problem. We've got everyone and their brother buying investment property and no one buying single family owner occupied. It's a serious problem. And the investors are actually they're actually paying more than owner occupants. Like, that's a problem. Long term, that's a real problem. Property selling in less than a month makes no sense to me. It's normally 30 days on a close. Don't ever buy a house sight unseen, like physically sight unseen. That's ridiculous. People are still buying investment properties and it's ridiculous. And then, I don't know. This is not a good report for me. I don't find this great for my buyers. And as far as for my sellers, I think that they would probably get away with anything. The problem with most of my sellers is where are they moving to where they're getting a value? Well, they're getting the same value they have in their own current house now. Makes no sense. Let's go to the next one. Did you know insurance is problematic? I bet you may have. I bet you may have. Oh, gosh. Did I get it right? Okay. Insurance is a real problem. In California, they're canceling policies for things like neighbors' trees. Did you get that? Possible fire hazards, all kinds of things. If you can't insure a property, there is a clause in our contract, our purchase contract, that says if you cannot get property insurance within 10 days, you can get out of the contract and get your escrow money back. Is that true across the country? I don't know. I'm talking about the St. Louis market, St. Louis Association of Realtors contract purchase agreement. I can't speak for anybody else's. Have I ever had to use it? No, but the first thing I do when I get a property under contract is I call the buyer and I say, hey, look, congratulations, we got this under contract. We need to find out if we can get this property insured. You need to call them tomorrow, or if not today, and see if it's the weekend, it's kind of hard. But we need to look into this. And so that's one of the things we do. Let's get into this. I don't know if we're going to enjoy this article or not. So this state leads the nation for high-priced home insurance. Rising home insurance prices are affecting homeowners across the country, but some states are paying more than others. In Florida, 20% of homeowners are paying at least $4,000 a year for home insurance, the highest share of any state, according to new data released by the U.S. Census Bureau on Thursday. Now, look, there's some things going on in Florida that I don't exactly have pulled up, but basically what's happening is, I believe you have the condo, the HOAs have to be funded for the repairs that may be needed for those properties. I think that's an issue. I think that people have pulled out, insurance companies have pulled out of the coastal areas due to hurricanes and things of that nature. So there's things going on in Florida in addition to this phenomenon of paying more than $4,000 per year. It says other states where at least 10% of homeowners pay more than $4,000 annually are Louisiana, Texas, and Colorado, according to the data of the American Community Survey. Nationally, the average cost of home insurance for a policy with a $300,000 coverage limit is about $2,300 per year. According to Bankrate, rates have been rising nationwide, which experts say is due to inflation in the cost of building materials and an uptick in weather and climate-related disasters. In recent years, many insurance carriers have paid out more in claims than they collect in premiums. They've responded by raising their rates and reducing their coverage, particularly in areas prone to extreme weather and wildfire. So that makes sense. on some level. But I also think that there's some government regulations that have said you have to do this, this, and this. And insurance companies said, no, we'll just leave. To me, it doesn't make any sense if you look at this chart, okay? Only 7% of homeowners in California are paying more than $4,000 a month. Now, California has some homes that are like in the 50, $60 million range. How is that they're only paying? I mean, how is that part of the only 7% that are? It doesn't make any sense to me. Let's continue. It says higher premiums can make it harder for homeowners at the edge of their affordability range to meet their monthly mortgage payment obligation. Absolutely true. And in a situation where you have a mortgage, every year it resets. So if the insurance rates go up, now you need to pay into your escrow more money so that they can pay their property insurance for you. And that's a real issue. It's a very interesting thing. It says a recent survey found that leaders in the default servicing space view rising tax and insurance costs as the biggest risk factor for rising mortgage delinquencies. I typically believe that. I think that's absolutely possible. I mean, think about it. If you're at property insurance and you're living in a $2,000 home, okay, if your property taxes are, say, $6,000 on a $200,000 home, okay, and now your property gets reassessed to be a value of 400,000 because prices have gone up 50% in the past 4 years. Now all of a sudden you're paying $4,000. That's a lot of money. Add insurance to that, and all of a sudden, did your wages go up by that much? It says still high home prices and elevated mortgage rates mean financing a home purchase is still out of the race. Out of reach for many would-be buyers, which is true. High insurance premiums only add to this cost, forcing buyers in these markets to either stay on the sidelines or settle for lower priced homes. Most people aren't going to feel sorry for you if you can't afford a mansion, right? Right? No one feels sorry for you because you have to buy a lesser home. It's a very fascinating thing. I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying, like, that's what people say. It says nationally, home insurance rates rose 34% from 2018 to 2023. Texas saw the biggest increase with premiums jumping 60%. It says if insurance rates continue to rise, it can eventually affect home prices in the most costly areas to insure. That's right. Well, I mean, if I can't insure it, I've got a problem. I do need homeowners insurance over time. I mean, look at what happened to me today. I need homeowners insurance because my neighbor's tree has fallen in my backyard and destroyed my picnic table and my umbrella and destroyed my car windshield and destroyed the neighborhood electric grid and destroyed his own house. I mean, you can see where homeowners insurance is very necessary for people like this. It says the monthly cost of home ownership includes not only paying down principal and interest on the loan, but also covering tax and insurance, which means the whole picture, insurance cost included, has to be considered when defining a budget for a home purchase. Yes, I think people get stuck somehow believing that they only pay the mortgage, right? No, you have to pay property tax and property insurance, and that's not a small amount of money every year. It says markets with high insurance costs may see downward pressure on home prices as buyers aim to balance out insurance costs by purchasing lower priced homes, pushing sellers to drum up demand with lower prices. Well, I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there yet. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. I don't know. What do you think? I'd be curious to see what you think. I've got 0 views on X. I've got 0 views on YouTube. I've got 2 on Rumble. So the 2 people on Rumble that are watching me, thank you for watching tonight. And so, in the spirit of we're back, in the spirit of, thank you, openness. What do you think? How do you think the show went tonight? Did you realize that I've been gone for a year and 3 months? Did you miss me? I miss doing it. I know I don't get the views that I should, but I really enjoyed it. Will I get back to regular streaming? Yes. Okay, but I don't know how it's going to show up. I don't know if it's going to be an hour every night. I don't know if it's going to be I don't think it's going to be every night. All I can say is I'm going to try and I'll try to post when I know that I'm going to do a show. And then, let's get some interaction going. Let's get something in the chats, and let's just enjoy ourselves. Let's talk about real estate. Let's talk about the issues. Let's have a good time. Let's not hurt anybody. Let's say a small prayer that I feel better, that this is the beginning of my recovery. I still get headaches. I'm still miserable. I'm still having bad things happen to me, one after the other, after the other. I did sell a couple of houses. So, I mean, there's that. I will say this. I know that on Friday at 1 o'clock Central Time, Austin and I are going to do a live stream. We're going to talk about some stuff. It's kind of interesting. And other than that, I'm going to head on out. I wanted to say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I will catch you on the next one. Not sure when that'll be. But it's been fun. Feels good to get back. I feel kind of like I'm at home in a weird way. And thank you for coming along with me for this journey. Good night. Good night.